Hello, hello. Hello, my beauties and gents, my lovely viewers, my lovely followers. Wherever you're watching this, wherever you're listening to this, thank you for tuning in to the first Hella Ambitious recording. Hi, Miss. Thanks for joining. So first of all, let me tell you where this title came from, Hella Ambitious. So I'm from the Bay Area, and here we say something, we say hella, right? So I did not know that this was only something, Bay Area people said, Northern California people said, until I moved down south. And people were like, what did you just say? And I'm like, that's hella cool. That's hella big. That's hella whatever it is. So I guess it translates to like a hell of a lot. And yeah, so many people have adopted this word. I mean, like, even like Gwen Stefani was like, I'm feeling hella cool. She had that song. So, but it comes and it originates from here. So, and of course, ambitious, because really what I'm so passionate about is just, helping and supporting and guiding people through their very ambitious journey, because I understand it so well. I think I was just born out of the womb ambitious and curious and just kind of wanting more. And to be honest, I think we all are. I think at some point we just develop some things that make us a little bit more timid, a little bit more reserved in terms of like going after that ambition, because we are evolving human beings. We always want more. So wanting more is not a negative thing or a bad thing, and it doesn't mean that you are not grateful for what you have. So all the things to help you on your ambitious journey. And so this particular series, because I have a few IG Live series that I'm super excited about. I love, this is like my favorite way to show up. Not so much during stories, not so much during captions, but like just talking to you guys. I would love even more if I could see you and actually interact with you. So if you are watching, let me know in the comments. My plan is to also upload this to my podcast. So if you are listening back, definitely reach out to me. I love to hear from you. That's what this is all about, is connecting, not just hearing myself talk, right? So today's topic that I had such a hard time choosing, but thank you guys for all your inputs. It seemed like the best thing to start with is finding your purpose and how exactly to do that. Yeah, not, just a very light subject. But in true ambitious nature, that's what we're going to start with, because another thing I'm really passionate about is really just dissolving these negative emotions, these limiting beliefs that so many of us have, that have been kind of put on to, with like, in terms of like we've adopted because of society, because of people we've grown up with, or whatever it is. And I feel like finding your purpose has some of that negative connotation to it, where it's like this big thing. And it's like, if you're not living your purpose, then like your life is kind of meaningless and this and that. I never actually adopted that belief. I've just always, I don't know, it was never something that, I felt stressed about, right? I just always did what I needed to do in the moment, right? And I really trusted in a bigger picture. At some point, I trusted in that bigger picture consciously, but I think I always trusted it just because I was so curious. I'm a naturally curious person. Just, as I went along, I was just kind of like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this next thing? Like, what's this next part of my life? I swear, I feel like I've lived like 10 different lifetimes by now. So I actually never had that angst around like finding my purpose. I was just, I had angst around other things, just kind of like trying to make things happen, or understanding how to make things happen that I wanted to make happen, these dreams that I had. But in terms of like this is my purpose. Oh, this is my purpose. This got to be my purpose. I never really had that, right? And I think that that's one of the things that has led me to what I believe to be now my purpose, right? Which is coaching and really helping other women become healthier, wealthier, and happier, right? So, and again, I don't think that like I've arrived necessarily, because again, I have so much trust in this bigger picture. I have so much trust in like, because just so much in my life has happened where I was striving for this and then I got this. So it's like, they're just things that I know that the universe knows that I don't know. You know what I mean? So it always kind of delivers way more than I thought, way more than this picture that I thought. It gives me this. So it's just hard for me to be like, oh yeah, I've arrived, because again, we're super evolving human beings. And I think that this, where I'm at now is amazing. And it feels great to like wake up and just feel purposeful. What I'm doing is what I love to do. The life that I'm living is what I love to live. And not only that, but I get to like really feel fulfilled in it, that I'm, helping other people and things like that, because that's what makes me feel fulfilled, right? So I definitely feel like I'm, in a really great place. Whether it's my final place, I have no idea. I don't know how much longer I have on this earth. We don't know. I don't mean to get morbid or anything like that, but it's true, right? So I think like one of the first things I would say is just understanding that, finding your purpose doesn't have to be this like angst-filled thing. It could just literally be, because you just never know, you're always going to be evolving. The point is to just feel fulfilled within your day. And if you start with that small kind of task, because it can be simple, right? To feel fulfilled within your day, you just have to think, okay, what will make me feel fulfilled? Then I feel like you will even naturally kind of get to a place where you're like, oh, this feels very purposeful for me, right? So in my coaching program, this is not the first thing that I start with. I don't start with but I do make everybody go through it, because what's so funny is that, these questions that I pose to like a lot of my clients and stuff are questions that I've had always encountered. And by the way, I think that this is a great topic to start with, because it also gives you a little bit of insight on my journey. So for those of you who don't know, I started as a Pilates instructor, but really the only reason I became a Pilates instructor is because I wanted to own my own studio that, basically like lifts everybody's vibe, because I found this workout that I felt, could, always made me feel really, really good, right? And I feel like it was just a hack to make people feel really, really good. So I wanted to really share that with so many people. I did not grow up wanting to be a Pilates instructor or thinking I was going to be a studio owner or anything like that. It was not like some grand dream of mine by any means. I knew that I wanted to like own my own business and be my own boss in a sense. I do think that I had that thought, but what that was going to look like, I thought was going to be a lot different. To be honest, I thought I was going to be in the fashion industry and all sorts of things, which is probably a whole nother life or a whole nother day. But nonetheless, I really followed my bliss because of the journey that I was taking during this time. And what's funny is that like sometimes, that's the funny part, right? Is that sometimes it just feels so illogical. Your next best step can feel so illogical, because like, again, I'm not like, I didn't even know if I could be a Pilates instructor. Like I grew up very active, yeah, but like being like, teaching people and doing all this stuff, like I had no idea that was for me. Nonetheless, I knew that if I wanted to have a studio in order to impact a lot of people and like, raise everybody's vibe, give everybody like a high vibe class, a high vibe feeling when they stepped into the studio and they stepped out. I knew that I wanted to know the ins and outs of the studio. So I had to start with being an instructor. I wanted to know what that was all of that entailed. So I took a certification to do that. And what I found is that I actually really liked it. It was a very, very cool and fulfilling outlet to what I already had inside of me, like yelling positive affirmations to people. And yeah, just like it was just very, very fulfilling to me, connecting with people, seeing people every single day. Like I ended up realizing that I just really loved the teaching aspect of it. What's funny is like I actually did not like the studio owner aspect of it. It was, well, also because I did, again, another live for another day. It wasn't exactly, because I had partners and stuff like that, it wasn't exactly my vision. So, which I knew it wasn't going to be. I knew it was more so a learning experience more than anything. But nonetheless, I realized like I thought that having a place to go to every single day was what I wanted. And maybe it will be one day, but not at this time. At this time, I still really love traveling with my husband and my family. I don't like feeling confined to one city, one place, and things like that. So, but being an instructor was definitely something that I found was super fulfilling to me. So I just kept following that bliss, right? I kept, even though it made no sense for me to be a Pilates instructor, I have a business degree, I don't even know the first thing about Pilates. I always say Pilates, if being a garbage man like gave me this same feeling, then I would be sitting here telling you all to be garbage men. You know what I mean? And again, no diss to garbage men because they make the world go round. But that's what's true, right? I don't necessarily care about Pilates, right? I'm not like this, like I want to be the face of Pilates, which I've heard an instructor say before, and I'm like, I could give two shits. Like I just want to, help people feel good. And, because I feel like they're, in different industries, people get like very, gung-ho about being like so politically correct. I don't care. I'm here to feel good because that makes your life feel good. And like, that's it. Okay. So, but yeah, I loved it. I loved it. And so I followed that bliss a little bit more. And I was actually taking some courses that kept asking me these questions. And I thought like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm just here to like learn how to really make my virtual practice now successful, right? Because it's not a brick and mortar anymore. Now I'm in this virtual world. I want to learn more about it, and be the best at it, of course, ambitious. But they kept posing these questions, right? Like, what do your friends ask you for advice for? And so I'm going to get into like, what are some good ways to try to find your purpose. But these are the questions where I was just like, I don't know, relationship advice. Like, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I'm definitely not going to go into being a relationship advice person. Like, so what are these questions are just like irrelevant to me right now. I didn't want to do the work in a sense, right? These are like worksheets, that, I would get in terms of like when I would, invest in myself. I would be like, oh, I already know this answer. And like, what does this question have to do with like, me building my business? Nonetheless, I learned a long time ago to do the work, write shit down, really, give it my all, right? So, cause I used to do all this stuff in my head and be like, I got it, but nothing happened, right? So a long time ago, I really realized that once I started actually doing the work, like the worksheets and like writing it down and seeing really what comes up, shit started happening. So these questions, the same thing kept kind of coming up where I was like, okay, well, I know that my friends, they're like what they always come to, like they literally always call me and they're like, they preface it with like, hey, I need to talk to you because I know you'll tell me the truth. I need to talk to you because you're the smartest person out of all my friends. I need to talk to you because you've done this before. I need to talk to you specifically because of this, and that, right? So I just started, I didn't realize, and this is another thing is like, sometimes your purpose is so underneath your nose that you're just like, whoa, I had no idea like this was unique. I had no idea that this was different about me. I had no idea. I thought this was what everybody knew this. I thought this was what everybody did. I thought this was just what was being a good friend, is giving this unbiased advice and not judging them on where they're at, because I just, saw them as this human being, So, when I started finally kind of giving into the fact that like, oh, this is actually something like a strength of mine, is when I like officially stepped into the coach. I mean, people were calling me, like my students, in my Pilates classes were calling me their life coach, a long time. I literally laughed it off because I was just like, life coach. It sounds so fluffy. It sounded so like cheesy. And I just really didn't even know that that world really existed. And it just sounded like, I don't know, like life coach sounded so like, people that you were working with, like these desperate people, I don't know. And like, I love psychology, and I remember loving psychology in school, but I purposely did not go and study it because of the movie Sixth Sense, because when like, a little kid came back and like killed that guy, I was like, I don't want to be responsible for these people. Luckily, coaching is not that. It's not psychology. It's not therapy. It's very like objective and just like goal oriented, and there's a start date and there's an end date and all those good things. So nonetheless, that's how I found, this place that I'm in now in this coaching world, and like just feeling the most fulfilled I've ever felt in my whole entire life. And again, don't know if this is the end place for me, but I'm definitely on the right track, and I know that. And it feels really, really good, you guys, to know that. Like, and I don't take it for granted, because I know that there's a lot of people that wake up every day and they have no idea what's going on, like why they're doing what they're doing, and they're kind of like on autopilot. And again, that's another reason why like I'm just so passionate about being a coach, because now I can just pose those questions to anybody and everybody and get them thinking about their lives and what they really want out of them, and have more fulfilled lives. And that's beautiful, right? So, yeah. So let's see. Let's get into it. Let's just get into like the few, like I'm not like all about tips or whatever, but this is literally what has worked for me. So I am down to share my experiences with you, and and share my experiences with, in terms of like what my clients have gone through and stuff like that, and what's worked for them. So I would say, like, if you are still in a place where you are trying to find your purpose, a good place to start is by tuning in with yourself. It's not the fun work. Again, it's not the easy work. It's just so unsexy. It's just kind of like, it almost feels daunting and boring. But if you don't learn how to tune in with yourself, then your purpose can be like right underneath your nose, and you won't even know it. You won't get that impulse, right? Because like, it's funny, I had a client, and like every day, we had a program, and like it started off with like, okay, tuning in with yourself. Like a lot of my practice is very much your wellness routine, like what you do every day, the habits that you create and stuff like that, I feel like is really what makes up who you are. So that was like the first order of business, is like getting the right rituals in place, getting the right routine in place to get you that momentum and be able to like get you into this place of like creativity and downloads. And because you guys, that's where your best steps come from. They come from you. Like, it's not like everybody and anybody can give you like a strategy or a step-by-step, but like if this is about entrepreneurship, there's no playbook for entrepreneurship in that way, right? Entrepreneurship is a very creative industry. That means you make your shit up. You create the ladder. You're not climbing a ladder. You can go to corporate for that. You can be an employee for that, right? But when you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to create your business, it's always going to be super unique to you. So anybody promising you this like step-by-step strategy, I would invite you to kind of question it a little bit and really tune in to see if it resonates with you. Because I think that it all, especially this, as a creator, right? Like of creating your own business, it's going to come from you. The most authentic and aligned business is going to come from you. And when you're in an authentic and aligned place, right, you're going to create a very successful business for you, right? That works for you in your life and how you want to live it and things like that. Like I said, I had a physical studio, and then I realized like, okay, like maybe that wasn't the right, route for me, right? But you have to kind of go through it to know, right? You have to take those steps. And what's funny is that like I knew taking that step was not the most aligned, but I took it and ate it, right? Because I knew that I was learning, right? So I got out of it what I wanted to get out of it, which is a learning experience. Even though I knew it wasn't like perfect, it wasn't ideal, it wasn't 100% aligned or any of those things, but I learned what I needed to learn from it. So in a sense, it was, right? So 1 second, let me take a sip of my coffee. You guys with me so far? I don't know. There's a few of you guys watching. You guys, please let me know in the comments if this is resonating, if this hits somewhere, if any of this is kind of working for you. I would love to hear your feedback because, again, love to connect with you guys. That's the whole intention that's the whole intention behind everything that I do here. Okay. So first step, yes, I would suggest to tune in with yourself, develop yourself a nice routine that allows you to just be, yes, thanks Elise, your best self. When you're your best self, you get your best downloads, you get your best ideas, you get what's for you, okay? So, and that's where you get your next best steps. And again, sometimes it doesn't make any sense, like becoming a Pilates instructor, you know what I mean? Like, the hell, like where did that come from? You know what I mean? Nonetheless, it felt good. It felt aligned, and I did it, and it's gotten me here, and I'm so grateful for it. Right. So like I said, I had a client, and like we were going through, my coaching program, and like, the beginning is not like getting sometimes in tune with yourself. It takes a little bit of time. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of energy to kind of like, to create habits, you guys. It's not an easy thing, and I don't shy away from saying that. But when you do it, right, you put those right rituals into place. That's why I have like that's why I love wellness, because it's so aligned with like everything, right? Your business, your life, everything. That's the first thing that we do. And it's the reason I didn't completely pivot out of wellness, because it's still part of my coaching strategy, right? So you want to make sure that you're able to tune in, because when you tune in, that's when you find, the things that are for you. And again, you are able to be like, that's it. When you find like the love of your life, you're like, that's it. If you've been working on yourself, if you're in tune with yourself, if you know who you are, you'll be able to see that person in front of your eyes. When you're able to tune in with yourself and, you get a download like, I should be a Pilates instructor, you're going to be like, that's it. That's for me. That's the message for me. That's my next step. Doesn't make sense, but that's for me. So again, your purpose could be just like underneath your nose. It could be the things that you're like so good at, and you're just like, isn't everybody good at this? Isn't everybody good at giving advice and, being unbiased and being non-judgmental towards their friends? Isn't that just being a good friend? Well, maybe not. Maybe it's not. Maybe like, and what's funny is that what I've learned now is like, most people, because I know I didn't, and I should have realized this earlier, but it's like literally how I would have powwows at my house, I would get wine and pizza and, do these little social gatherings that were not clubs and bars. And I would be like, what are you guys doing? Like, I'd invite all my friends, and I'm like, what's your dreams? What do you guys want? Like, what are you guys manifesting right now? And they'd be like, nobody's fucking ever asked us this before. And they would literally text me like weeks later, and they'd be like, I can't get out of my head like what I learned at your house, and like what we were talking about, because I just like to go deep, guys. And that's probably why I don't have like a crazy amount of friends, but the ones that I do have, I think that they appreciate me, and the feeling is mutual. And again, that's why they would call me and like literally preface their conversation with like, hey, I need to talk to you. So again, these things that you just naturally are good at or like naturally do might be unique to other people, right? So you want to be able to be aware of the things that are right underneath your nose, right? Because it might just be right underneath. It might be the thing that you just love to do and you're just like, I just love this hobby. I don't know. And that's another thing, right? Is that your conscious mind is what's going to tell you, like, I can't make money from this. Nobody's made money from this. I didn't go to school for this. I don't have a degree in this. You know what I mean? And your conscious mind is what's going to kind of rationalize for you and keep you kind of, second guessing things. But your subconscious mind, that's where that like impulse came from. That's the blueprint of your life. That's the thing that you want to be able to, be in control and in tune with, because, it's going to give you those impulses. And you got to just trust those good feeling impulses, because they're like impulses, right? A pulse goes boom, boom. They're super quick. You got to act on those things. That's what you got to act on, right? You got to just go with those things. So if you think too much about it, that's where you just let everything stop you, right? You let all the reasoning and all the people and all the people, all the society and all your friends that are not doing anything either, and all your family that is just trying to keep you safe. And that's when you let all that stuff stop you. But when you're like, what's true is what's coming up from you is those impulses. So tuning in, right? And like I had a client who was like, I want to find my purpose. I just want to find my purpose. And I was like, well, create your why. Like, why do you want to find your purpose? You know what I mean? Like, first, take the time to tune in with yourself first, because then I promise you it could be right underneath your nose, and then you're not going to know it. How are you going to know it if you're not in tune with yourself? So that's, I would say, step one, right? And then another thing to look at is, well, let's just, I already mentioned it, but like, what do your friends say that you're good at? Like what do people come to you for? What do your family come to you for? What is something that you're just like, oh, this is dope that I do? And then I guess the third thing is like, what lights you up? Because I've already kind of talked about the friends thing and stuff like that. And this kind of, again, merges right into it, which is what really lights you up? What is something that you would do for free, right? Like, what is something that, because not everything that you're good at, right? Because I was going to say, like, what are you really good at? But not everything that you're good at lights you up. And not everything that you're good at is part of your purpose. Like, I'm really good at figuring out tech shit, right? Websites and this and that. Really, really good at it. And it served me very well for a very long time. And now I can share with my clients, oh yeah, this is how you do this. This is how you do MailChimp. This is how you create a website. This is how you create a video. This is how you do all of those things. But it does not light me up. Yeah, like literally, like when I have to do it for my own business, like especially as a solopreneur, sometimes you just do shit because you can and you have to, right? So I muster up that energy. I get my website done, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm so drained. But I do it because I need to do it. Right now, right? Like at the beginning stages, you kind of just do things because you need to do them, right? And then at a certain point, you can just start outsourcing them. Like now I have like a tech VA where I'm just like handle all this tedious work that is like literally weighing me down and keeping a lot of my energy stuck, and it's just not worth my time. And I can pay this person and also just share that energy with this person. Now I get to, help this person make money, and also clear up a lot of my energy and get the shit done that I need to get done, right? So we'll talk about delegation later on another live, but, just because I'm good at it, it does not mean that it's part of my purpose. It does not mean that it's something I like. Like I used to have I've helped a lot of my friends kind of get started on like either social media or like their business or whatever. And like, even my husband was trying to push me towards like social media management and stuff like that. And I'm just like I can't, like, just because I'm good at it, I don't want to do it. My friend's like, I'll pay you. And I'm like, I don't want it. I literally don't like want to be paid for this. I would rather give it to you for free and just show you what to do and then hand it off. Just because I'm good at it does not mean that that's what I want to do. Right? So you could be good at it and it could play a role in your life and it could play a role in your business and things like that. But It might be something that you delegate later on, right? And it might be something that gets you started, and then you kind of just, again, evolve past it. So, but what is something that your friends come to you for and you can strengthen, right? Because just because you are good at it and stuff like that, and you might see it as a hobby, when you strengthen it, that's when it becomes like a real business, right? That's when you can find it, you can really make money off of it, right? Because again, this whole series is about entrepreneurship and mindset and things like that. So we are going to be talking about making money here, okay? So number one, get in tune with yourself so that when you do find your purpose, you can notice it. And number two, what are you good at and what lights you up, what gives you, following that bliss, as, cliche as it sounds, is the right way, because again, you're forever evolving. Just because you started off in one thing doesn't mean that that's the end all for you. It just means that's your next best step, and it's going to lead you to your next best step after that. Trusting that bigger picture and understanding that you're probably never going to be done. You're forever going to be evolving into this amazing entrepreneur person that you are, right? And what do people come to you for? What are you good at, and things like that. So all of those questions can really lead you to that. Tuning. Okay, yeah, that's it. Sorry, I was checking my notes, just making sure I didn't miss anything. Because I think that that's a really, really good place for you guys to start if this isn't the place that you are in, right? When you're still trying to find your purpose, or you think you're doing something and you're just like, this isn't purposeful. You know what I mean? This isn't, and so you want to ask yourself, so maybe this is the last thing. You want to ask yourself, what would make it more fulfilling, right? Like, what would make it more purposeful? I have a client, and she's probably watching this right now, listening to this right now, but, she makes creative products like shirts and like tumblers and like things like that. And until like I got her to realize that she actually brings so much joy to people in terms of like expressing themselves, like she just it didn't really click for her that her work is actually very purposeful, right? Because it is, you guys, and I say this all the time on my stories because I'm a freaking sucker for good customer service. But you guys don't know that even like the most minuscule job, you guys have no idea how it affects the chain of reaction for other people. Like when I go to Starbucks and they do my coffee wrong or something like that, and like this happened to me the other day, and I went back the next day and I was like, oh, you guys put regular milk instead of soy milk. I couldn't drink it. So, kind of please make sure that it's the right milk, whatever. I get to the window and then she's like, oh, I heard we didn't make your coffee right. This one's on us. And I was like, great customer service. Like I am even more loyal, because of that, and it was just like an amazing lesson, because it's like, just because something went wrong doesn't mean, and I told them, I'm like, you guys have a very important job. So, when my eyelash girl doesn't do a good job or whatever, or when I was trying to find a good eyelash girl and when she didn't do a good job, I couldn't show up on stories. I couldn't do my work. You know what I mean? When I have like my gray hairs and, I can't get in to see my hairdresser and she doesn't do a good job and my hair is orange or something like that, then I don't feel really confident to again, show up and do my work. There's so many ways that, whatever job you do, you play a big part, and having integrity, which is a whole nother IG live. I've gone like on 5 tangents today, but that's okay. But having integrity with whatever it is that you do, I promise you that it's more purposeful than you think. It's more, and having that integrity makes things more fulfilling. But no matter, it doesn't have to be some grandiose thing. And I think that that's, a very important thing. And that's what I started with, on this live and stuff like that, is that it doesn't have to be this, huge purpose. Like, even if you go to a 9-to-5 that you semi-like and you're just like, okay, this is easy. And then when you come out, you're able to spend that money that you earn on vacation home, and then on those, you invite all your friends, and that's super fulfilling and purposeful. Like, I have a friend like that who, they have vacation homes and stuff like that and all these cool places. and they're always inviting a lot of people and stuff, and they have like 9 to 5s and stuff like that. I don't know if they grew up, wanting to be like, what they are, a mortgage broker or whatever. Nonetheless, they earn the money that they need in order to like live a really fulfilling and purposeful life, because they bring people together and they create these amazing experiences for them. And that's beautiful. It doesn't have to be like saving the world. It could be just your world, that you affect, right? So, and again, like, if you make money and stuff like that, like what are the charities that you want to give back to and stuff like that? And that makes it really purposeful and fulfilling, even though maybe the work that you're doing is a little bit not as like, creative as or whatever as you think. So there's just so many ways to actually find purpose and passion and fulfillment in what you do. That doesn't necessarily have to be this grandiose, change the world kind of thing. And I promise you, if you start smaller in just try to change your own world, like for instance, like I just started with like my own friendship groups and how I can create value with my own friendships and be that best friend that I want to be. You have no idea how that can evolve to something else, right? So that's what I will leave you with. I cannot believe I've been speaking for almost 45 minutes. This has felt really good. I really would love to hear from you guys. I want to hear if any of this resonated, if any of this helped, if any of these steps are something that you're going to be implementing. Because of course I always, no tips and fluff, more so just like takeaways and, practices that you can do right here, right now, today to change your life, change the trajectory of your life. Like I love all of that stuff. So I would love to hear from you, whether it's in the comments, my DMs, whatever it is, let me know. And thank you guys. Thanks, Marissa. Thank you guys for joining me for my first Hella Ambitious live recording. Again, I'm going to post this up probably on my YouTube and the IG lives and like the podcast and all the great places. So again, thank you guys so much for connecting with me today. And I look forward to hearing from you.